There are some things you should never do in Italy. Mistakes that waste your time, drain your wallet, and instantly mark you as a clueless tourist. We're Naick and Kim, and after 10 trips to Italy, including a 6-week trip that we just finished, we'll show you what not to wear, what never to do at a restaurant, and the tourist traps that catch people every time. Don't ever buy water in Italy. Buying bottled water in Italy is something that only rookie travelers do. The locals don't do it, and neither should you. Italy has thousands of free public fountains called nazzoni that pump out cold, clean drinking water. They test this water daily. If it's not safe to drink, they're gonna mark it with a sign that says acqua non potabile. So unless there's one of those signs, you're good to go. Don't assume locals speak English. A lot of travelers just walk into a shop or restaurant in Italy, start speaking in English, and then get frustrated when the locals don't understand them. That's a little bit rude. Even in big cities like Rome or Florence, your hotel receptionist might not speak English. Your waiter in that small family-run restaurant probably won't either. Before your trip, memorize a few words and key phrases. Buongiorno, which is hello. Grazie, thank you. Il conto per favore, the bill please, and parla inglese, do you speak English? You can also download Google Translate and the offline pack for Italian onto your phone. People will appreciate the effort and they'll usually go out of their way to help. And speaking of restaurants, what about tipping? Do the locals do it? Will you offend someone if you don't? I'll tell you exactly how it works in a second. Don't dress inappropriately. Cathedrals like St. Peter's in the Vatican or the Duomo in Florence have strict dress codes. No bare shoulders, no short shorts or skirts, and no low-cut tops. I always carry a scarf or a light jacket with me so that I can cover up a little bit as needed. Outside of churches, skip the flip-flops, baseball cap, and big floppy sun hat. Locals don't wear those, and tourists who do tend to stand out. Pickpockets target people who look like easy targets, which brings me to my next point. The worst mistakes tourists make in Italy, they're about money and safety. Don't let the pickpockets win. Italy is very safe overall, but pickpocketing, that is a different story. Rome consistently ranks among the top 3 cities in the world for pickpocketing. Italy sees over 25,000 cases a year, and most of them happen in the tourist hotspots like the Colosseum, the Rialto Bridge in Venice. Some dress like tourists, some work in groups, one distracts you while the other takes your stuff before you even notice. Here's how you avoid becoming a target. In any crowd, especially at the major sites or on public transport, keep one hand on your bag or your phone at all times. If you're a woman, don't wear your purse on your shoulder behind you. Keep it zipped and in front of your body. If you're a man, just ditch your wallet, split your cash and your cards between your front pocket, which is what Naick does. If you follow these habits, you're already ahead of most people. Next, don't dial 911 in Italy. If you have an emergency, you need to call 112. That's the European emergency number. It's the same all across the EU, and yes, there's an English-speaking operator as well. So 112. Don't get a €100 fine for using public transport the wrong way. This is one of the biggest and most expensive mistakes that people make. In Italy, buying your ticket to the bus or the tram is just step 1. You then need to validate the ticket physically by sticking it into a little machine the moment you board. What the validation does is it stamps your ticket with the date and the time, which proves you're not trying to reuse an old ticket from last month. Ticket inspectors do random checks all the time, and if your ticket's not validated, you will get hit with a €100 fine per violation. Don't get suckered into tourist trap restaurants. That restaurant with the perfect Colosseum view, the food is probably awful. Near every major tourist attraction, you'll find the same setup. English menu, laminated photos of every dish they serve, and a waiter waving you inside like it's Disneyland. You did not fly all the way to Italy just to have microwaved lasagna. If you want the view, just grab a drink there. We do this all the time, but then when it comes time to eat, we go somewhere else. You open Google Maps and then you look for restaurants around you that have at least a 4 out of 5 rating and lots of reviews. Don't mess up tipping. So you found a great restaurant, you had a wonderful meal, and then the awkward moment comes. Do you tip? How much? You don't want to offend anyone, but you also don't want to overdo it and look completely clueless. Workers here get paid a full living wage, so they're not counting on big tips to supplement their income. Most locals just round up the bill at a cafe or leave 2 free euros at a restaurant if the service was great. That's it. If you're used to tipping 20% where you're from, that might feel a little bit weird, but nobody is expecting that in Italy. And always tip in cash, otherwise your waiter might never see the money. Now there's a lot of other pitfalls when it comes to restaurants. Most people don't even know how to read the menu in Italy. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, don't leave your hotel without cash. Italy is not as credit card friendly as you might expect. Most of the hotels and restaurants will accept cards, but some smaller places will outright refuse to let you pay with a credit card, especially for small stuff like coffees or gelatos. This is particularly true in Venice, where it was borderline impossible to find a bottle of Coca-Cola, which is just 2 euros, if you didn't have exact change on you. First of all, bring not 1 but 2 credit cards in case you lose one or one gets blocked. Then hit up an ATM as soon as you land so that you have some euros on hand. Now these next couple mistakes are a little bit sneakier than the ones that we just discussed. Don't do all your sightseeing between 10 in the morning and 4 p.m. Have you ever seen the Trevi Fountain at dawn with no one around? It's like stepping into a dream. But now picture that same place at 2 p.m. Elbows in your frame, crowds 5 rows deep, but getting up early once or twice can seriously improve the experience that you have in Italy. You'll have empty piazzas, beautiful light. Next, don't treat Italy like a checklist. If it's your first time visiting Italy, it's easy to get very excited and try to cram in as much as you can. Rome, Venice, Florence, the Cinque Terre and the Amalfi Coast all in just 1 week. And I get it, time off is limited and Italy is beautiful. But if you try to cram too much into your itinerary, you're gonna need a vacation to recover from your vacation. So do yourself a favor and cut one place. Just spend a little more time in the other spots that you're going to. Now, this next one is a big one. Don't show up to major attractions without reservations. Nothing will ruin your day faster than arriving at the Accademia in Florence, the famous Vatican in Rome, or the Doge's Palace in Venice, and seeing a line that wraps all the way around the block. The queues at the top sides are brutal. If you show up thinking you can just buy tickets at the entrance, you could be stuck waiting 2 or 3 hours or just not get in at all. A lot of people just don't realize that there's a better way to do this, without the waiting, without the stress, but you can avoid all that simply by booking skip the line tickets in advance like we did. With a skip the line ticket, while everyone else is stuck in line under the sun, you just walk right up to the entrance, they scan your ticket and boom, you're in. We got all our skip the line tickets on Get Your Guide. Get Your Guide is a website with over 65,000 experiences worldwide, and we use them all the time. Here's a breakdown of what tickets we would recommend for the big three, which is Rome, Venice, and Florence. In Rome, definitely get skip the line tickets for the Colosseum and the Vatican Museums. In Venice, for the Doge's Palace. And in Florence, we got the skip the line tickets for the Accademia, the Duomo Cathedral, the Uffizi Gallery, and the Pitti Palace. I'll put all the links to the tickets that we bought in the description down below so you know exactly which ones to get. Don't visit in high summer. In Italy, July and August are not just hot, they are brutal. Think 95 Fahrenheit or 35 Celsius, and surprise, most restaurants in Italy do not have AC. Many hotels will advertise having it, but then when you get there, it's either kind of weak or it only runs between certain hours of the day. Try to visit Italy between April and June or September, October, when the weather will be a lot milder. Now, if summer is your only option, don't panic. You'll totally still have a nice trip. Pack sunscreen, drink lots of water, and if you're in need of a break, remember the churches. They are a godsend, literally. Don't forget to check local holidays and unexpected closures. Some top sites randomly close for holidays, events, or even random Mondays. We kind of made that same mistake in Florence. We forgot it was Easter Monday because where we're from, that's not really a big deal. But in Italy, everything was closed. Now, my favorite section, restaurants. Food is a big part of the reason why people travel to Italy and love it, but there's quite a few unspoken rules when you go to an Italian restaurant. Mess these up and you might seriously offend some Italians. Don't assume you'll know how an Italian menu works. Ordering food at a restaurant in Italy can feel a little bit intimidating at first. Menus are usually split into several sections, and in many places they're entirely in Italian. Naick is going to explain to you how to read an Italian menu.
Italian menus are pretty much all the same structure. Antipasti, these are the appetizers. Primi piatti, first course. Secondi piatti, second course, main course. And then the dolci. You can go 4 courses, you can have an antipasti and a main course, or pick and choose a little bit.
And speaking of dessert, if you're planning to get gelato, there is one big mistake that we see travelers make all the time. We'll get to that. Don't mess up your coffee order. If you order a latte in Italy, you're literally just gonna get a big old glass of milk. Because in Italian, latte just means milk. Here's a quick summary of the 4 other types of coffee that you might want to order and what you should say. First off, you have a caffè, which is a small, strong shot of espresso. This is what most Italians would order. Then you have a caffè macchiato, which is that same espresso, but with just a tiny dollop of milk in there. Then you have an americano. And of course, the cappuccino, coffee with lots of steamed milk and foam. Italians typically only drink cappuccino until about 11 a.m. because it's considered a breakfast-only drink. And I'm gonna be honest, I broke that cappuccino curfew every single day. I just love cappuccino. And guess what? Nobody cared. So have whatever you want, the cappuccino police is not gonna care. Don't expect American-style service. If you're from the US, you're in for a little bit of a shock in Italy. In the US, service in restaurants is amazing. People check in on you constantly, they refill your water glass every 5 minutes. They're hustling because they're working for tips. In Italy, that's not the case. Your waiter is not being rude, this is just normal here. Italian waiters can be a little bit salty, like when you go to Florence and order the famous bistecca alla Florentina, this giant T-bone steak that's a local specialty, and you ask to have it well done. Oftentimes, they'll either flat out tell you no, or they'll completely ignore your request and just serve it to you medium rare anyway. Don't rush when you're at a restaurant. In Italy, meals aren't rushed. They're a moment to relax and to connect with people. No one's trying to flip your table or hustle you out the door. In fact, if you want the bill, you usually have to ask for it. In Italy, that's not rude. They're just giving you some space because your table is yours for the entire evening. Order a tiramisu for dessert or a digestivo like a nice limoncello and just soak up the vibe. Don't think you can order spaghetti and meatballs in Italy. Spaghetti and meatballs, chicken Alfredo, pepperoni pizza, these are Italian American inventions. They're tasty, sure, but in Italy they're not really a thing. But this is actually great news because it means you get to try the real Italian cuisine. Which brings me to my next point. Don't just eat the same pasta and pizza on repeat. If that's all you're gonna have on your trip, you're gonna miss out on 90% of what makes Italian cuisine so amazing. Italy isn't just one cuisine, it's dozens. From region to region, the food completely changes. So when you're in Florence, you really need to try the bistecca alla Florentina, of course, but there's also incredible beef stews made with local red wine from the Chianti region. In Venice, you should order a seafood platter or try the local cicchetti, as they're called. These are small slices of bread topped with fried seafood, marinated veggies, many different things that are just delicious. And if you really don't know what to order, do what I always do, which is just ask the waiter what their favorite is. They will be delighted to help you pick something. Don't assume you can get food whenever you want. If you want to get a plate of pasta at around 4 p.m., you might be out of luck. Here's how it works. Lunch typically lasts from noon to about 2:30 p.m. and then after that, everything shuts down in the afternoon for a couple of hours. Then from 6 to 8 p.m., the Italians do what is called aperitivo. This is when all the bars fill up with locals sipping Aperol spritzes or wine and nibbling on small snacks like cheeses, cured meats, bruschetta, And then dinner is later in the evening, typically from 8 to 10 p.m. In Florence, we went to this restaurant that flambés pasta inside a giant cheese wheel. It was absolutely amazing. But when we called ahead for a table, they only had one table left for the next 3 days. So yeah, definitely book early. Don't be that tourist. I'm going to tell you about a major faux pas that might surprise you because it's something that lots of travelers do. Italians are passionate about their food and very particular about how it's meant to be served. So if you're asking to modify a dish, like swapping out the sauce or hold the meat, asking to change a recipe is like repainting the Mona Lisa. Don't ignore cultural etiquette. Italians actually aren't that loud in public. Sure, they talk with their hands, but when they go out to a cafe or a restaurant, they're actually quite softly spoken. That also means that a lot of travelers, especially Americans, can really stand out. Americans often bring big energy and a little higher volume, which in general is great. In the US, it really is the norm, but in Europe, it isn't. So if it's a little quiet around you, lower the volume a little bit and you will fit right in. Don't sightsee without your ID. Here's a mistake you don't want to make. You show up at the Colosseum, ticket in hand, but then you get turned away at the door because you forgot your ID. No ID means no entry. In most places, your driver's license and a copy of your passport will be sufficient. Always make sure to check. It only takes 30 seconds and it can save your entire day. Don't fall for tourist trap gelato. Of course, you're in Italy, gelato is a must, but not all gelato is created equal. If you see bright neon colors, gelato piled high in big swirls, or flavors like blue bubble gum, run. That stuff is mass-produced and full of artificial flavors. Real gelato is made in small batches and stored in metal containers with these lids on top to control the temperature and preserve the freshness. 2 rules of thumb that you can use. 1, look for the word artigianale, which means handmade, and 2, go for natural colors. You want your pistachio to be pastel green, not look like the Hulk. Don't rent a car unless you're a really confident driver. Italian traffic is not for the faint of heart. Narrow roads, constant honking, very assertive driving. If you're not 100% confident behind the wheel, trains are a far better option. They're fast, they're scenic, and they're way more relaxing. For example, Rome to Florence would take you 3 hours by car, but the high-speed train does it in just an hour and a half. Now, if you're exploring the countryside, a rental car can make sense. But just remember, stick shift is the norm in Italy and automatic costs more. Parking can also be a nightmare in small towns, so don't get the biggest car you can afford. Really, the smaller the better. Also, don't assume your regular driver's license is enough. If you're visiting from outside Europe, you're gonna need an international driving permit in addition to your normal license if you want to legally rent and drive a car in Italy. Italian police and rental agencies often require this document. The good news is that it's really cheap and easy to get an international driver's permit. If you're from the US, you can just get it at AAA or whatever your local automobile club is. Don't underestimate the Italian sidewalks. Walking is one of the best ways to experience Italy, but the Italian sidewalks are not so great, especially in places like Rome, where the cobblestones are super uneven and really brutal on your feet. Trust me, your ankles might not survive Rome in flip-flops, so just bring the most comfortable shoes you possibly can. Now, even if you do all these things right, for some people, Italy still doesn't live up to the hype. Sometimes that's because of us and their expectations. Don't expect punctuality in Italy. Trains run late, buses skip stops, and that tour you booked at 10 a.m. might very well leave at 10:20. Built-in buffer time. Don't make your plan too tight. That means no back-to-back tours or any of that kind of craziness. Don't just hit up the highlights. The Colosseum, the Duomo, the Rialto Bridge, go and see them for sure. But if these highlights are all you do, Italy is going to start to feel like copy-paste tourism real fast. The best moments are often found off the beaten path. in an untouristy piazza, a quiet park, a tiny little restaurant where nobody speaks English. Wander through Trastevere in Rome, Oltrarno in Florence, or maybe include a day in a sleepy little town outside of the main tourist hubs. Don't take a hop-on, hop-off bus. Lots of people take these cruising around the city all day on a bus that takes them to the main sites, and then they complain about how Italy isn't really that charming. Plus, these days, they're kind of overpriced. If you're really short on time, this might actually be a good solution for you. But if you have time to walk it, just walk it. You'll see a lot more of those beautiful alleyways and quaint little squares that make Italy so special. And most importantly, if you walk it, you'll find a lot more good gelato shops. Don't assume locals are after your money. A few days ago, we got a comment on one of our Italy videos where we said, if you don't know what to get at a restaurant, just ask your waiter for a recommendation. And someone replied, yeah, but don't they just recommend whatever is about to go bad? So I'm gonna say it, most Italians aren't trying to scam you. They're trying to share their culture with you. In Florence, we were eating at this tiny family-run trattoria, and the chef saw how much we were enjoying the meal, and he started bringing us all these samples, like 5 or 6 dishes, all for free without us even asking, just because he wanted us to try the food. That is the real Italy. If you keep an open mind, people are going to go out of their way to make you feel at home. On the other hand, don't expect Italy to look like a dream 24/7. There's going to be graffiti, construction, loud traffic. Some streets are gonna smell a little bit funky. Italy isn't Disneyland, it's a real country, and real countries are messy sometimes. If you fixate on that stuff, you'll miss the magic that's right in front of you. And this one's really important. Don't stress too much. Look, you're not gonna get all this stuff right all of the time. Occasionally, you're gonna mess up, and that's normal. Welcome to the club. Italy will still blow your mind. You're gonna see so many cool things, and you're gonna have more gelato than your doctor would ever approve of. But if there's one thing that can ruin your holiday, it's scams. And Italy's got a bunch of them. So go and watch our scams video here if you wanna know how to avoid them. Or if you wanna see some more Italian food, go and watch our Rome food tour right here.